Yo, what's going on? It's Kilo, and we are back for another episode of the regular podcast on the regular network.
It's real.
What's going on, y'all? Back, last episode of 2023. Let's call this the New Year's resolution episode, even though I don't really title episodes like that like I used to. But it's going to be our final episode, man. So I appreciate y'all for checking me out, supporting all throughout the year. You know, we got YouTube analytics and everything like that. So, of course, we know, as with many channels, majority of the viewers are not subscribers. So please help us out, help me out, get these subscribers up by going to YouTube, the regular podcast, and hitting subscribe. Make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you share it to your people. And let's get the subscriber engagement up. You understand? But I guess, you know, based on the numbers, we are outperforming the subscriber count. But, you know, I would like to get more subscribers, and then we can hit those goals and things like that, right? So how y'all doing, man? How y'all been for the week? I've been cooling, you know, short weeks because, you know, we got holidays and things like that going on. So the weeks have been just 4-day work weeks and stuff like that. Besides when I take some PTO, I took a couple PTO days within the last week or two or whatever. But so, you know, it's been cool, calm, chilling at home. You know, let me get my emotional support animal. So, you know, a lot of talk around, which I haven't seen it as much as I normally do, maybe because right now as I'm recording this, is actually the day before New Year's Eve. Today is the 30th of December. But, you know, I normally see more talk about like New Year's resolutions and end year goals and what people going to start doing in the new year. I have seen a few people talk about it, but I haven't seen as much, I feel, as I normally do. Personally, I'm not big nowadays. I used to, but I'm not big now on like New Year's resolutions for myself. I don't knock other people who do it, but I'm saying for me personally, normally when I have an idea to do something, I attempt to start right as soon as I have the idea and I think it's a viable idea. I'll start it right then. So, you know, if you know me, you probably see me pick up a whole bunch of different random things throughout the years and all that type of stuff. Is because normally I'm going to just go for it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's cool too. But I'm at least going to try it out. You know, that's how I pretty much have always been. Hold on real quick. That's the type of person I am. If I think it's a good idea, it's go time on that thing. So, but I don't knock people with New Year's resolutions. So since that's just the whole landscape of society and things like that, I will give you a quote unquote New Year's resolution, even though it's something that I've already been working on. But so my New Year's resolution is to focus on 3 major, I would say, growth opportunities that I have for myself. A lot of times, like I get into stuff, I start things, I attempt to do things, but then I also do a whole bunch of little side missions and all that type of stuff. So I got 3 major things, and one of them just being my normal day job. Really just progressing in that, like making large steps ahead in that, whether that's getting new certifications, whether that's getting a huge pay jump, whether that's getting some new title, maybe becoming a manager, something like that. So that's my day job. Then I have this content space. And so that's running the whole network, putting out content, making sure I stay consistent, make sure I keep on recording, maybe even expanding a little bit more, bringing in new people or producing podcasts for other people, whether they're on my network or not. And then I have this other side business that I started in 2023. Excuse me. So those 3 things, that's my job, my normal day job, progressing in that, the content creation space or production of content, and then my other business that I just started this in 2023. So those 3 things are the 3 major things in my New Year's resolution that I want to focus on and go hard on, and not pick up any side missions until those 3 things are taken to the next level, right? Make major steps, major leaps and bounds. Until I do that, until I progress in those things, so that's my resolution, is to, you know, stay focused on those. And I don't think it's going to be too hard for me, but I know it will be a tug of war because I do like to pick up side missions. So I just want to make sure I stop doing that this year. And already started. So that's why you see me putting out content consistently right now, is because, you know, I made that a goal for myself, and I said, you know what, let's start working on that thing. So that's me, man. Y'all let me know what y'all New Year's resolution or what goals do you have coming up, because also some people, what they do is they'll set something as a New Year's resolution. If they don't hit it, or if they are not successful at sticking to it, like right at the beginning of the year, they pretty much just drop it. But really, it's like a diet. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you want to start a new diet or whatever, and then you have a cheeseburger. That doesn't mean you just throw the whole diet away. Just get back on it the next day or the next week or whatever the situation is. Just jump right back into the goal or attempting to reach the goal. You know what I'm saying? Don't just give up and let it go and okay, now it's just over. I'm done with that now. Nah, because something like, if you look at the history of this podcast, the regular podcast, it's been on and off for 7 years now. I didn't just say, okay, well, I wasn't consistent back in 2016 or 2017, so now I'm just done. No, I'll pick it back up. It's still a goal of mine. I still like podcasting. I still love production of shows and stuff like that. So I'm going to pick it back up. It doesn't bother my self-esteem or my insecurities or anything like that for people to know like that he ain't been consistent with his podcast. So I'm going to just go hide in the shadows and just act like the podcast never existed. No, I'll just pick it back up. I might have new logos, new everything, but I'm going to pick it back up. That's just how I am. So I think that more people need to just pick up on their goals. Even if you didn't succeed in it the first time around, just keep on going. If it's still a goal, if your goal is to eat healthier, why would that goal ever just be thrown away? You could come back to it. And I wanted to say something for my people who have like goals that involve substance abuse, or let's say alcoholism or smoking or popping pills or whatever like that. That's a major one. First of all, because specifically in America, and maybe other countries too, but I know in America, substance abuse is so championed and it's so like such a social thing, such a fun thing, that we make it like a fun thing that people do get to points in their life where they kind of do feel bad about indulging in certain substances, but then they'll set a goal and say, all right, I want to stop. But then as soon as they pick it back up, they just act like it was never a goal and just go forward. But that's something that you can stop anytime you want, as many times as you want. Not to say anytime, but you can stop and start as many times as you want. Like it's not a knock on your character if you say, okay, I fell off that wagon and I'll have to pick this back up later. You can pick it back up later. Like it's fine. You know, if you say I don't want to drink anymore, okay. And then in 2 months, you pick up a drink again. 2 months after that, you could say, all right, I'm going to stop. Right. And I wanted to talk specifically about substance abuse because I dealt with that myself. Right. So specifically with alcoholism and saying like, you know what I'm saying, I'm never drinking again or whatever the situation is. Anytime I said I was going to stop drinking, I never said for a specific amount of time. I was pretty much like, I'm just done, period. Right. And being in that world and dealing with like classes and courses and stuff in the past when I was a little bit younger, a lot of people go through the same thing. They say the same stuff like, I'm never drinking again. I'm never smoking again. I'm never popping the pills again. I'm never shooting up again. A lot of people do that. And then they end up getting back on it. And I just wanted to say like the main thing that makes it a hard thing to do is us telling, we like to announce like, hey, everybody around me, everybody in my area, I'm not drinking no more, right? We feel like we got to announce this to people. So then when we do start drinking again, we get kind of embarrassed. But really the problem is we are trying to convince ourselves that we don't want to drink anymore. But in reality, we don't really have a problem with what we're doing. We don't really want to stop. We're only saying, hey, I'm about to stop drinking because we think the people around us that have noticed patterns that are negative patterns for our life, we know that they'll think it's a good thing for us to stop. So we want to tell them, hey, I'm not drinking no more. And we think that's going to get us the praise that we're looking for. So that's why a lot of times the people who end up starting to drink again or starting to smoke again or whatever, they don't end up going back and reporting to the people that they told they were going to stop. They don't go back and tell them, hey, I started up again, man, I messed up or whatever the situation. They try to hide it. It's because you really never wanted to stop. You were just trying to impress them. But you really got to get to the point where you stop when you feel like you want to stop. That's the only time you're going to stop anyway. If you're trying to stop to impress other people, if you're trying to stop to get support and praise from other people, it's never going to work like that because you don't even see a problem with it. So in your head, you're always going to be thinking like, man, it wasn't even that big of a deal. That's how you're going to be thinking about it in your head. It wasn't even that big of a deal. Like one little drink is not going to hurt me, or one beer is not going to hurt me, or one bottle, that's not going to hurt me. Like as long as I don't do nothing stupid when I drink, I'm cool. And that's what's always going to be on your mind because you never really wanted to stop anyway. You see what I'm saying? So I just want my substance abuse people to know that all of it is okay, but you got to do it when you are actually ready to do it. And I know some people just like tell you, no, just stop. Like it's just not that easy. So as a person that been in them shoes and in them shoes, I'm saying that no, don't fake yourself out and don't play with yourself because that's going to make you feel even worse. And it's all a personal journey. It's going to make you feel even worse to keep on feeling like you failed at stopping to do something that's considered harmful for you. So don't even play with yourself like that. Like you stop when you are ready to stop. You feel what I'm saying? So I know they always say, the first step is to what do they say? Like pretty much the first step is acceptance. Like accept that you have a problem. People say that, but it's not. How often has that worked to get people to actually stop doing a substance? I mean, it's not that successful. So really the first step is to have genuine desire to stop. That should be the first step. Genuine desire to stop. I want it because I've been, like I said, I've been into this stuff for a long time. I've been studying. I bought this book 10 years ago now, right? This book 10 years ago, and this is actually from the MIT Press. This is a college textbook, right? And it's called The Fundamentals of Neural Network Modeling. So I bought this book back in 2014. I really just studied it. And when I bought it, I honestly didn't know what I was about to pick up and learn in it. I just seen it was like, it's an very old textbook, but the information is still good. It's written by neurologists at the college level. And I really just wanted to learn anything about the brain at that time. And it was only like $3.99 at that time. If you see any book I have and the word Ohio was on it, and you know me and you know what's going on, you know what period in my life that I got this, right? So when I've seen the book, it was only like $3.99. I got it. And a lot of the stuff in it was, I won't say it was over my head, but a lot of the stuff in it I had never heard of before because I never studied neurology. So, and they are not talking for consumers in this book. They're talking for people who are in the field of neurology. And also, this is a modeling book. So they're talking about people who merge neurology and tech. So this is like even more advanced than just basic neurology. This is people who are trying to recreate what's going on in the brain in models, right? Anyway, so I'm reading this book, and like I said, I'm coming into it with an open mind. And I get to a chapter called, this chapter is called A Computational Model of Alcohol Dependence, Simulation of Genetic Differences in Alcohol Preference and of Therapeutic Strategies. And I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm gonna read this excerpt because I think it's important what I'm about to say and how it relates to substance abuse and alcoholism specifically, right? So what does this say here? Okay. Modell, Mounts, Beresford, these are scientists, have also reviewed the circuitry. They emphasize, however, the similarity of obsessive thoughts about drinking and obsessive compulsive disorder. What is that saying? These people were reviewing circuitry, so they were looking at the brain, and they have the networks and circuits in the mind in here, in the brain in here, mind and brain, two different things. Anyway, they were looking at and they found similarities in how the brain works around alcoholism and how the brain works around OCD. They're very similar. It's like close to the same thing, right? Modell and his colleagues argued that the same frontal cortex dorsal medial thalamic circuit implicated in OCD symptoms may also mediate obsessive thoughts about alcohol in alcohol-dependent persons. Right? Let me read that again. It's a little bit sciencey. Modell and his colleagues argue that the same frontal cortex dorsal medial thalamic circuit implicated in OCD symptoms may also mediate obsessive thoughts about alcohol in alcohol-dependent persons. They suggest that activity in the cortical thalamic loop is regulated by an inhibitory circuit that includes it says NACC, but that's nucleus accumbens, and ventral pallidum. Inhibitory serotonergic, excuse me, it's a crazy word, inputs from the dorsal raphe nuclei also modulate activity in these loops via input from the nucleus accumbens. Okay, so, pretty much what it's saying is, what it's pretty much saying is, and in so many scientific words and terms, is that we're looking at how electrical signals move through the brain with people that have OCD. We're also looking at how electrical signals move through the brain in people who are alcohol dependent. The electrical signals move the same way through both of these type of people. It looks similar. So if I didn't know you and I couldn't speak to you to ask you about your alcohol dependence, and I didn't know you and I couldn't speak to you about your OCD, if I looked at the brain, I couldn't tell the difference between y'all two. I would think it was the same thing. That's what they're saying here. And the reason I thought that was important, and the reason I think it's important in this conversation, is because too many times people look at alcoholism and substance abuse as a whole as a psychological thing and not a neurological thing, right? And so when they treat it as a psychological thing, it's really in the mind, and they're telling you all you have to do is just will yourself to stop, right? All you have to do is think that you want to be done, and you'll be done. Because so many people say, hey, I just quit cold turkey. I just told myself that I was done, and then I was done. But most of those people end up going back because they didn't know why they were stopping in the first place, most of the time. And that's not to knock them. That's to say they have the same problem that everybody else has, because it's a brain thing. It's not a mind thing. Psychology is mind. Neurology is brain. Brain is a physical structure with electrical signals and everything like that. And it's not subjective. There's really pulses running through your brain and doing different things. We can watch them, we can see them, and we can look at a person and see what behavior is associated with what electrical signals and how they move. Okay. So when you understand addiction and when you understand alcohol dependence through the lens of neurology, it changes everything. And it lets you know that, okay, I don't have as much control over it as I thought I had, but I can better prepare myself when it's time for me to stop. I know more of what I can and what I should do to try to, I know what I can and what I should do to try to help myself stop. I think I just had a power surge or something. Something just happened. So that right there, I think is very important. I want people to understand it. Even if you felt like, okay, that's a little bit too heavy, too sciencey, it went a little bit over the head. Okay, cool. But this is something, like I said, that I've been studying and reading up on for a decade now. You see what I'm saying? This is not just something I just made up. It's not just one of my theories. This is the theory of neurologists. I'm just reading it. And it's not just one. This is a big group of people. And the people who they were referencing in that book are not the people who wrote the book. So the authors of this book are referencing other people, and they all come to this agreement together that, you know, it's actually circuits in the brain that are behind what we call as alcoholism. Okay. So as I was saying, if it's your New Year's resolution, don't give up on it. And even if you're not successful, you know, within a few weeks of the first of the year, you can come back to it. You can come back to it. All my substance abuse people, you know what I'm saying? Hold your head up. I'm with you. I've been there, done that, doing that, all of that. You understand? I just bought me a bottle yesterday to get right with. You see what I'm saying? Some good, you know? So it's not anything I feel is nothing to be ashamed of, because this is a genetic predisposition. Or maybe you had a brain injury or something like that changed your mind. Because, you know, head injuries cause all different types of things to go on in people and cause us to exhibit all different types of behavior. So anyway, That's all I want to say about that, man. Shout out to everybody else. Let me move on to something that's more lighthearted, and that's talking about shout out to Joe Budden. I haven't listened to Joe Budden podcast since the Diddy stuff happened, but I watched the clips and stuff like that. And Umar Johnson, Dr. Umar Johnson, was just on there, and he's super viral right now with these clips. Whoever is running the clips, like creating edits and things like that for the clips, I know they had a good time doing Umar clips because, first of all, everything that y'all put out from Umar is going viral. So that's the best thing that you could do is create a clip and it actually do on social media what you wanted to do. And that's go crazy viral. And everything that they've been putting out from Umar is like gone. So I know that's a blessing, right? Shout out to them for that. And then the stuff that Umar is saying is just always entertaining. As always, very entertaining, man. Shout out to Umar. I was seeing so many people having conversations around, like some people like, yo, how could you disagree with this? Like he's saying stuff that should be common sense, but people just argue against it because you don't like him. And then you got some people saying like, how could you listen to a person like this? He stole money and he won't put the school out, or where's the school and all that. So it's like, there's a lot of argument around that. And then there's people who are just listening to what he's saying and responding to just what he's saying. So I have seen a lot of conversation around like, what has Umar done for black people, right? Because Umar keeps on being critical of other people and what they've done for black people and what they haven't done for black people. So people are saying, well, what has Umar done for black people? And I would say, because I actually feel like oratory genius can do a lot for us because we are a storytelling people. That's what we have been known for many years, right? So it's not just about storytelling, but the whole idea of using the power of the tongue to get a message to our people, that's very, very profound. That's why preachers have such a major impact on black people. But anyway, when they say, what has Umar done? I would say he's done the same thing that pretty much everybody else that gets praise from the past has done. What has W.E.B. Du Bois done for black people? The same thing Umar did. Tell us stuff. He told us what he thinks we should be doing and what he thinks we're doing wrong and how we could do better. That's what they all do. What has Martin Luther King done? Tell us stuff. What has Obama done? Tell us stuff. What has any of these people? If we only want to give, the funny thing is, the people who do actions, like who do service things for black people, it seems like they get the least amount of credit. Honestly, the people who like the Tony Lewis Jr.'s in the world or the Booker T. Washingtons, of course, people recognize Booker T, but he doesn't get, like, he should be a bigger figure than like Martin Luther King to the black community. But because he didn't make as much noise with white people because they don't know him as much, then we don't talk about him as much. But Booker T did way more for black people. Went and got his degree, then he went down to Alabama and built the university, had black people build the university with him, so they gained those skills. And then when they built the college, then they went and started teaching black people to become teachers, and then they put out a whole army of black teachers across the South. Like, that's somebody who really should be, when they had the pictures of Jesus, Martin Luther King, and JFK in the households, they should have had Booker T up there, Booker T. Washington up there. You understand what I'm saying? People who have actually done, like, even people want to look down on it now, but early gang leaders, those people really was putting their life on the line to fight back against police, fight back against white mobs for us. People don't talk about them people because y'all don't want to talk about them. You don't want to talk about the people who have actually done real actions for black people to progress us. Some people, you talk about the Black Panther Party, but a lot of times they talk about the Black Panther Party in passing for real. They don't get the real credit and accolades that they deserve to get for what they've done in this country. And it's mostly because of how they fell apart. The way that they fell apart, it made it so that people who are not friendlies to us in our causes in America, they got to tell the story of the Black Panthers. It mostly was from a criminal standpoint and how they were taken down because they were walking around with guns and all that. Like, people, the image of Black Panthers is really like, oh yeah, those are guys that used to walk around with the guns all day. But that's not, most of these kids, most of them were like college kids. most of them were scholars. They did the gun thing because they were challenging something that was going on at that time. But for the most part, these were scholars. These were the ones who, if they started right now, y'all would look at them like, yo, these dumb kids always think they know everything. That was them, the intellectual black youth at that time. That's who they were. And they was actually out here making change. They was actually out here in the community. They were having to fight against their parents' generation. Their parents' generation didn't support them. You see what I'm saying? And then the people who came under them pretty much act like they didn't exist because how they fell apart. Some of them got on drugs. Some of them died. Some of them, all different types of stuff happened. But they didn't get support from the generation under them or the older people, people older than them. So a lot of them, we had like the people of the like late 80s and 90s had to dig their legacy back up and kind of make the Black Panthers cool again. And then even after that, it got forgotten again after that. But the people who actually like, they don't big up Nat Turner like they should. They don't big up Denmark Vesey like they should. So if y'all rather talk about the Malcolm X's of the world and the Martin Luther Kings of the world and the Du Bois of the world and people like that, if that's who y'all like to talk about, the orators, then Umar goes right in line with them. He's one of them. He's one of the orators of Black history, one of the great orators of Black history. That's what they did, and that's what y'all give all the praise to. If people gave all the praise to Huey P. Newton and his people, there would be way more of that. If they gave all the praise to Nat Turner and them, there would be way more. If they gave more praise to Josiah Henson and them, there would be more praise for that type of activity. But if the only person you talk about is Harriet Tubman, then it seems like an outlier, and it seems like, okay, well, she was just special and there was no more of that. If the only people that we talk about is Martin Luther King, then they'll say, oh, well, he was just an outlier. He was special. There was no more of that. So, okay, well, nobody else needs to follow that blueprint. We'll just wait for another one to come. You see what I'm saying? But I think that giving good information to Black people is doing something for Black people. That's why I think that it's important that we do stuff like podcasts like this. Every podcast can't sit around and talk to everybody about relationships and what is a man doing right and what is a woman doing wrong and what is every podcast can't be like that. I can't knock the people who are doing it because clearly it's working out for them. They get money and they have an audience for it. They have a bigger audience for that than they have the type of stuff I do. Somebody get on a podcast and read about neurology and talk, but I'm talking to Black people about this. There's really no audience for that, but that's what I'm into. So that's what I'm gonna keep on doing. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that for sure, you know, people like Umar, I'll give them the same respect that I give any orator from the past. If I didn't have no problem with James Baldwin and them, all they was doing was talking and writing scripts and poems and stories and stuff like that. What's the difference between Umar? So what? That's how I feel about it. You see what I'm saying? And to spin off of that, I want to play something for y'all real quick. Excuse me, I want to play something for y'all real quick because this is just funny to me that it's funny to me how if it's anything that's going on that's like the Black thing, you know what I'm saying? It just, some people just feel the need to make anti statements against this thing. So now we got a guy named, excuse me, let me put my headphones on so I can hear it and make sure everything is everything. You got a young man, 21-year-old young man. I think he's a conservative. And what he's doing is making statements that are adversely impactful to Kwanzaa, right? So here, listen to what he's saying. Here we go.
What's up, guys? CJ Pearson here. What the hell is Kwanzaa? Seriously, guys, what the hell is Kwanzaa? Because I'm sitting here, because I've been Black all my life, in case you guys can't tell, trying to figure out what this Kwanzaa nonsense is. Because I have never celebrated Kwanzaa, never intend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and for all my life, I've celebrated Christmas, the birth of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because that is what I believe. But apparently this holiday is supposed to be connecting me with my African-American roots. But the thing is, I'm not African-American. I'm American. I was born in Georgia, not Zimbabwe. I don't celebrate Kwanzaa, some fake holiday created by a convicted criminal who hated white people. I celebrate Christmas. Again, the birth of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Not some make-believe holiday that sounds as if it originated in Wakanda. I am so tired of these ridiculous efforts to divide us as a people, as a country. It's sickening, and it is so wrong, toxic, and evil.
Okay, man. So this young man's name is CJ Pearson, and I'm not gonna say any disparaging words against brother CJ, because you know what? I've been told y'all a long time ago that's not what we here to do on this platform, not on the regular podcast. That's not what we're here to do. I can give opposition to a statement you made. I'm not going to disrespect you like some people been doing. I have seen it. I have laughed at it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get in the way of somebody else doing it, but I'm not going to disrespect you, young man. I'm just going to tell you that let's compare the two holidays, right? Christmas and Kwanzaa. First of all, one of the things he said was, I was born in Georgia, right? I grew up celebrating Christmas, which is factual. A lot of us have grown up celebrating Christmas because that's what we just grew up doing. That was the tradition that somebody passed down to us. So we felt like it was, you know what I'm saying, let's go forward doing that. But when you bring up being American, it's funny though, because Kwanzaa was actually started in America. Christmas was started in Rome though. So there's the first flaw in your argument. It's not the first one, but that's a major flaw in your argument, because you're making it seem like celebrating Christmas is the American thing to do. Well, I guess because consumerism is the American way, you feel like the holiday that celebrates consumerism the most would be the most American thing to do. But really, it's the most European thing you could do. You say you're American. You're right. Kwanzaa is more American than it is anything else because it was started by Americans in America. The Black conscious movement is an American thing. I know that y'all like to act like this sounds like it was started in Zimbabwe and all that because you're ignorant, but it wasn't started in Zimbabwe. It was started in America by Americans, by Black Americans. So that's strike one against what you said. Now you said it sounds like a made up holiday by a convicted criminal who hates white people. Nothing about it is I don't know if he hated white people. I'm not sure, but I know that in any type of text about and around Kwanzaa has nothing that's anti-white in it at all. There's no anti-white doctrines that's associated with Kwanzaa in any way. They don't preach that. They don't teach that. They don't promote that. None of it. So where's this hate white people thing come from when you're talking about Kwanzaa? Kwanzaa is way more in line with peace than it is with. But we know how a lot of the people that claim I'm just an American, how they feel about peace, because they'll try to pervert peace all the time. Right? It's a made up. Christmas is also made up. Make believe, whatever you want to call it. Christmas is not celebrating the birth of your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Jesus wasn't born on that day. He wasn't born anywhere near that day. But you probably know that already, because if you talk like this, I'm assuming that you've read something at some point in your life about Christmas. So you know that Christmas is not celebrating the birth of Jesus. And so why are you even repeating that? I don't have a problem with you and your religion. I'm just saying why try to come at this standpoint as if you are doing something that makes logical or intellectual sense and then saying everything that's factually incorrect? You know that that's not Jesus' actual born day or anywhere near it. That's not an estimation of his born day. It's just not even he wasn't born on that day at all. Right? So then he made a statement about, is it supposed to get me in tune with my African American roots? No, that's also not the purpose or any of the principles of Kwanzaa. But since you have probably never read anything about Kwanzaa, if you see this, let me make sure that you have the information, that you're armed with knowledge, because guess what? They also have books about Kwanzaa. You could have read this stuff. You could have found it on the internet, because I'm sure you won't spend the time to read a full book about it, but you could have found this on the internet. I have books about all types. If I'm into it, I got a book somewhere about it. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I don't read as much as I once did. It's because all of that knowledge that I gained through these years of reading, I'm putting it into practice right now. You know what I'm saying? You can't just take knowledge and just have knowledge. You got to apply knowledge. That's where intelligence is really put to test. Let me talk to you about, so Kwanzaa is just only, it's 7 principles. Nothing more, nothing less. And then Kwanzaa as a holiday is around recognizing those 7 principles and incorporating those 7 principles into your life. Now, dang, what's going on? My joint keep on flashing, man. I got to figure this out. Man. I don't like that. I hope this thing don't stop recording. But I'm going to read these 7 principles to you, right? The Nguzu Saba, right? 7 principles. I'm going to read them to you and y'all tell me, you stop me through the computer screen. You stop me when you find where I say anything that sounds anti-white or it's anything that sounds like roots, like our roots or something, some type of African roots or Zimbabwe or anything like that, right? Unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, faith. That's it. That's all. The 7 principles are those right there. Kwanzaa is way more in line with finding a purpose within the community and building together than it is about learning history or being in tune with roots or anything like that. But it's just that because it feels or because it sounds too black or because the people who celebrate it seem like they love black people too much, outsiders want to pervert the meaning of Kwanzaa and try to make it something else for joke purposes, which is cool. Everybody can tell their jokes. I get it. Do your thing. But if you just want to talk about just Kwanzaa and what it is by itself, it's nothing like what people think it is. Unity. Do y'all have a problem with unity? Do you have a problem with self-determination? Because all of the conservatives, they love the point that, hey, pull yourself up by the bootstrap thing. That's one of the principles of Kwanzaa. That's a translation. So self-determination would be pulling myself up by my bootstraps. So one of y'all talking points is literally one of the principles of Kwanzaa. But you say you don't mess with it. Okay. Collective work and responsibility. So that means we're going to actually set goals, go out there, achieve those goals, and we're going to take responsibility for the results of what work we put in. Sounds more in line with what you keep on saying. Go out there, work for what you want and all that type of stuff, right? That's also a principle of Kwanzaa. Cooperative economics. So y'all have a problem with us like sharing the money inside of our network? I don't even need to tell you that that's what every one of people who you look up to, CJ Pearson, that's what they do. So if that's another thing that's a principle of yours, and it's also a principle in Kwanzaa. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Purpose. Purpose is, that's self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? Like you find what you should be doing and go do it. You have a problem with that, CJ, brother CJ? Creativity. I'm sure you might have a little bit of problem with creativity because when you go out and you just repeat talking points from other people who also didn't read anything, you probably lack creativity. So that might be one of the things that you do have the most problem with, and that will be creativity. No sense of originality. You just found somebody that you thought was cool and you start repeating everything they said. So, okay, I get it. You don't mess with creativity. And then faith. Well, you spoke about your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You are Christian, so you have some type of faith system. Well, that falls in line with Kwanzaa again, my G. So it sounds like you're celebrating Kwanzaa and don't even realize you're celebrating Kwanzaa. You have incorporated Kwanzaa and the 7 principles into your daily life minus creativity, and you don't even realize it. Yet you're speaking about how it's made up and you don't mess with it. But this is how culture works, right? You said you were a black man born in Georgia. You don't even realize that all of the stuff that you picked up and learned in your life as a 21-year-old born in Georgia and instilled in you has been Kwanzaa the whole time, and you couldn't even escape it. So now it's a part of your normal life, even though you think you don't mess with or celebrate Kwanzaa. Whole time, this is your whole system of belief. Your whole system of belief is the 7 principles, and you didn't even realize it. But that's how culture works, though. Culture works where you support the traditions and customs of the culture, even if you don't realize you're doing it. That's what, it's just your everyday life. That's what will make it. When enough people do it, and when enough people carry on these traditions, it becomes what we call culture. So that's why you live the way you live. That's why you think for you, or you feel like you think for yourself, right? It's because of the principles of Kwanzaa that you've picked up from your black parents. Even if you feel like they didn't celebrate Kwanzaa, you didn't even realize that, young man, and it's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to get that out there, my G. And you see, I didn't say nothing disrespectful to you, to the young man, because like I said, I don't do that. That's not my game. I can fight with my words. I can fight with words and facts. I can fight with words and facts, man. I wanted to give a challenge out there to the people. I want people to let me know what you thinking. I think I said this on a podcast before. This was years ago. The Midwest is the best region for black music in the country. And since black music is the best music, I'll say for music. So the Midwest has the best music history in American history. And if you don't believe me, or if you don't agree with me, I want you to line up. So the regions that I'm counting are East Coast, which I would call Upper East Coast. So that would be from DC, so DC, Maryland, and above, right? Pennsylvania, the Northeast is what I would call East Coast, right? And then the South. So you got the South where you go from Virginia and down all the way, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. You go over, you hit Kentucky, you hit Tennessee, also the South. You carve out the South and everything south of what I just named. And then you got the Midwest, which we know the Midwest. We go from Ohio pretty much over to Missouri and everything north of that. And then you have the West, right? And everybody know what the West is, right? So through all of those regions, I think if you lined up your 10 best people from each region, none of them would come close. Or I ain't gonna say them come close because everybody has greats in their region, but I don't think anybody is messing with the Midwest when it comes to the top musicians ever from the Midwest and music artists ever from the Midwest. Let me just give you a few, because I got a little list. Give you a few. Michael Jackson, biggest musician, just hands down ever, easy. He's one of the most famous people in world history. He's the biggest music artist in world history, Midwest. That's a Midwest baby right there from the hood, Gary, Indiana. Stevie Wonder, Michigan. Prince, Minnesota. Kanye West, Chicago. Now, we can argue Kanye because he was born in the South, but everything of Kanye moved up north when he was an infant. So I'm counting him. If somebody wants to put up an argument with that, we could duke it out. Let's do it. I'm counting Kanye. Babyface, the Isley Brothers, Smokey Robinson, Quincy Jones, Eminem. Eminem counts. That's black music, even though he's a white person. It's still black music. Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and then there's countless more. We created funk in the Midwest. We revolutionized R&B in the Midwest. House music comes from the Midwest. Drill music comes from the Midwest. Some of the best rappers, if you want to talk about lyricism, just penmanship, who's messing with Lupe? Who's messing with Common? Eminem is very high up on that list. Now, my favorite rap artist ever, is Jay-Z. But as far as lyrics and writing those lyrics down, I don't think he writes better than Lupe Fiasco. You see what I'm saying? Midwest genius. I don't think a lot of these people produce better than Quincy Jones or Kanye West. You see what I'm saying? So I want if you feel like if you agree with me, then cool, that's good. But if you feel like you have a region and you feel like you got a list of people that can stand up with the 10 people that I listed, and I just did that off the top of the head. I probably forget, like Diana Ross, I didn't say. There's probably other people like throughout the Motown history that I didn't name, and throughout just history period that I didn't name, that are from the Midwest. But you know what I'm saying? If you feel like there's an argument to be had and that's not the best 10 and all that, like, just let's do it. We can do it, right? So now, the last thing I want to touch on is also heavy, like the alcohol thing, but it's not as heavy, it's easy to understand. But I did want to get into it because I think this is major. And like I said before, when when I feel like that the Democratic Party and people within the Democratic Party do some bull crap, I'm for sure calling it out. Like that whole USDA thing, like we had to call that out. That was crazy. You know, that was so anti-black. It was just nuts. But they have an initiative right now. And let me just read this to you. This is from the White House, whitehouse.gov. Biden-Harris administration announces 31 regional tech hubs to spur American innovation, strengthen manufacturing, and create good-paying jobs in every region of the country. Now, I love that. Y'all know I work in tech, and I think that tech growth is very needed. I think America's biggest problem is the fact that we are too consumed and we are too much of our intellectual genius goes towards entertainment and marketing and stuff like that. Like a lot of our smartest people are used to do stuff like make social media more addicting. Like, why? And some people might think like those aren't the smartest people. Like if you don't know how to social engineer, so a lot of our most genius people in America are being used for social engineering. It's sick, for marketing and for keeping people addicted to things so that they can sell more stuff. Like whether you want to recognize it or not, some of the smartest people work in that field, in that world, right? So the fact that they're not only just calling it a tech hub, but they're putting what they call designations on these different sectors that they want to promote growth in. And let me read some of these to you, right? So these tech hub designations, we have enabling safe and effective autonomous systems. We have maintaining our quantum edge. We have advancing biotechnology and drugs and medical devices. We have advancing biotechnology precision and prediction. We have accelerating America's clean energy transition. We have strengthening our critical mineral supply chain. And we have regaining leadership in semiconductor manufacturing. Oh, also growing the future of materials manufacturing. That's a big one right? So, you know, you heard what I just read, and I want to actually get into one. Because in each of those designations, you have different, I guess, companies that they're going to be working with and different organizations that they're going to be working with and funding in different cities around the country to make that initiative come to life, right? So now I wanted to say, how can Black people make sure we get included and benefit from this? And I will say the best way that we can make sure that we're included in this initiative to build these new tech hubs is to make sure we're aware of what's going on. So that's why I'm making this video now about it, talking about it now. We need to make sure we're aware of what's going on. And also we need to know what cities these are popping up in so that we know, okay, it's in this city. There's a lot of Black people here. Let's see if we can get some of that grant money. Let's see if we can get some of that money. And let's see if we can't get any of the money directly, let's see if we can subcontract with these, or let's see if we can learn the skills necessary to go work at those type of companies while they're, you know, growing in this tech space. Let's read some of the organizations that are in areas that I would say have significant or prominent black populations. Man, my recording just went out on me, but we are back. Okay, so as I was saying, I want to discuss the areas that are prominent, and I would consider VA, Virginia. I feel is a prominent state as a Black location. There's about 20% Black population in Virginia last time I checked, so that's pretty significant. We need to talk about that. So, advancing biotechnology in drugs and medical devices. So they have a company or an organization called, or let's just say with it, Advanced Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Tech Hub. It's led by the Commonwealth Center for Advanced Manufacturing. It aims to accelerate the growth, innovation, and sustainability of the U.S.-based advanced pharmaceutical manufacturing industry to reshore safe and affordable medicines via innovative hybrid and continuous flow manufacturing technologies. So if you are in Virginia and you feel like you want to be included in what's going on with the advanced biotechnology and drugs and medical devices, that's what you want to look for. And you want to look for the Commonwealth Center for Advanced Manufacturing if you want to be a part of that. Let's see, what's another place that has, I guess if you want to consider, do we want to count Illinois? Because they have Chicago, which has a significant Black population, but outside of Chicago, there's not much There's not much going on there as far as black people go. But let's just read, because somebody in Illinois could find value in this. Maintaining our quantum edge. The Block Tech Hub, led by the Chicago Quantum Exchange, aims to lead quantum computing, communications, and related solutions. So if you are in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, that collective, which if they have an area like that, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, that sounds like Chicago and suburban Chicago right there, because Chicago is right in the northeast corner of Illinois, which is right there, touches Indiana and Wisconsin. So black people definitely can benefit from what's going on with that. So another one in advanced biotechnology and in drugs and medical devices, we have IFAB Tech Hub. That's in Illinois, led by the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and they aim to scale precision fermentation to convert underutilized corn feedstocks into high-value, customized alternative proteins, food ingredients, materials, chemicals, and more. Now, that's in the Champaign area. There's not a lot of black people there. They have some black kids going to the college there, but there's not a lot of black people there. But if you do have a way to benefit from that, if you want to go drive down there from Chicago or whatever, do your thing. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got here. Maryland. So this is in the Advancing Biotechnology, Precision, and Prediction. So Baltimore Tech Hub, led by the Greater Baltimore Committee, aims to develop innovative predictive healthcare technologies by applying artificial intelligence to biotechnology. Now, I don't even got to tell people in Baltimore, because black people pretty much run Baltimore and that whole area anyway. So it's just a matter of making sure that this program does not squeak by or sneak by us without making sure that we are involved in what's going on with that. Black people in the whole DMV area are already experts in government contracting. That's just their world right there. So they already know everything there is to know about it. I can't give you any pointers on that. Y'all already are hip to everything going on with that. So just make sure that the Baltimore Tech Hub is including some black people. Make sure some black people are eating with and off of that whole thing, and making sure that we are part of the innovation that's going on there. Right. Let's see. We have another one in that same designation, Advancing Biotechnology, Precision, and Prediction, Greater Philadelphia Region Precision Medical Tech Hub. So that includes PA, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey. So there's plenty of black people in that area. Led by the Ben Franklin Technology Partners of Southeastern PA, aims to become a global leader in end-to-end precision medicine. Again, y'all make sure y'all get included in that. So let's move to the South with it. This is a designation that's called Accelerating America's Clean Energy Transition. And this is in Louisiana. Gulf Louisiana Offshore Wind Propeller, led by Louisiana State University, aims to transition Louisiana's energy economy from its legacy of oil and gas to offshore wind and renewable energy. Now, we know how structures and infrastructures work in the South. So especially in places like Louisiana, we know that we are going to have to fight to be included in any type of clean or alternative energy solutions that are being developed right now. But I'm just putting it out there so that if you do want to fight that fight, it's going on right now with the LSU offshore wind propeller system that they got going on right now, right? So if you want to get involved with that, there they go. They can't hide from you. Another one in the clean energy designation, South Carolina Nexus for Advanced Resilient Energy. And that's in South Carolina and GA. So that's probably around between Charleston and Savannah. It's probably down that way somewhere. Led by the South Carolina Department of Commerce, aims to be a global leader in advanced energy by developing, testing, and deploying exportable electricity technologies. So again, black people, there you go. There's something to get in tune with. Another one in the clean energy, South Florida Climate Resilience Tech Hub, led by Miami-Dade County Innovation and Economic Development Office, aims to advance its global leadership in sustainable and resilient infrastructure solutions for the global climate crisis. Let's find another one here. No, not that part. Let's see here. And again, I'm skipping over some. So I'm gonna try to make sure I put the link to this in the description, because you might be somewhere in the country that I don't consider like a significantly black area, but you might be there. So you might be in tech, or you might want to benefit from what's going on, get involved, man. Get involved. Here's one that's in my home area, not my city, but the area. Growing the future of materials manufacturing. So sustainable polymers tech hub in Ohio, led by the Greater Akron Chamber, aims to tackle the severe climate and environmental impacts resulting from the use of fossil fuel derived polymers, rubber and plastics, through accelerating sustainable polymer manufacturing and commercialization in the United States. If you don't know, Akron is known for their tire production. They produce a lot of tires in Akron, so that's why they're wanting, because tire production is very bad for the environment. So it's very dirty. A lot of chemicals being put out into the atmosphere. So they have this initiative to pretty much develop tires cleaner, right? So if you are in that area and you want to get involved, there you go. Boom. Let's see what else we got here, and that would be it as far as what I would consider in significantly black areas. Now, of course, some people look at it, might hear what I'm saying and say like, well, why y'all think y'all deserve to just run these things? I'm not saying that we deserve to run it. I'm saying that for far too long, these government initiatives are put into place. And by the time black people are in a position to, I guess, benefit from it, it's already done and the money has been dispersed and spent for years. And not to say that some black people don't know about it, but I'm saying that this article just came out in October. So once they announce it, this is a plan that's going to be going on for years. So we need to be on top of it right now, making sure that these things don't go forward without us being included in it. You see what I'm saying? So my job is to just say, hey, if you are a person with the type of skills, or if you want to learn some skills that can get you in these spaces so you can get some of that tech hub money, or so you can be positioned to be included in these new tech hubs that are being built right now, these are the companies and organizations that are involved, and this is the designation that they're being involved with, included in. So go forth and be great, and hopefully we get some significant control in that, right? Because if we don't take the initiative to go do it, all of it will just go to white people without any type of fight from us until it's way too late. On top of the fact that we want to be ahead of what's going on, we want to be ahead of the curve, and we need to be ahead of the curve. We don't need to just sit and just see how this stuff will impact us after everybody already makes all the decisions. We need to be part of the decision-making process. So again, when I say you got to shout out the Democrats when they do something good, shout out the Biden-Harris administration for this one, because it's not being heavily promoted, but y'all did put it out there. You did make sure that you have this initiative coming. You are putting hundreds of billions of dollars, whether it comes from the private sector or not. You are putting hundreds of billions into building new tech hubs. And no, this is not being put in place specifically for black people. Hopefully our people get out here and get involved in it so that we can be part of this growth and innovation in the America's tech development. Right. So, man, that's all I got for y'all, man. My computer is doing some funny stuff right now, and I don't know what's going on in the crib, power surging or something. I might have to get me some battery backup units up in here just in case. I should have some anyway. But so, yeah, man, I appreciate y'all for watching, man. This is the last show of the year. Gave you a good hour and some change, it feels like. So, or maybe close to an hour. So I appreciate y'all, man. Keep on subscribing, keep on liking these videos, keep on commenting if you have something to say. To the people that's talking crazy in some of my videos, I support it. Keep on going, keep doing your thing. I don't take offense to none of it. I don't take offense to any of it, man. Just keep on giving your takes on it. I'm putting it out there so that y'all can critique it, so that you can give your feedback on it, so that you can. It is what it is. I love it all. Say what you got to say in the comments, man. If it's something that I should respond to, I will respond to it. But if you just, saying something that just needs to be said, I get that too. So peace out. Y'all have a good year. Make sure y'all get y'all resolutions, y'all goals in order, and peace, man.